Fire and Starlight. The Dragon Wars Beyond the Galaxy. The galaxy of Lumerion was ancient, filled with stars that burned like jewels in a black sea. Among these stars, there were worlds where dragons lived, not the small winged beasts of myths, but vast, living constellations of flame and light. They soared between planets, their scales glowing with cosmic fire, and their wings carrying the heat of suns. For thousands of years, the dragons guarded the harmony of the stars. They were the Starborne, created by the first flame of creation. Among them was Aureth, a dragon of golden fire whose wings could stretch across moons. He was noble and wise, one of the keepers of balance. But not all dragons were like him. In the darker edges of the galaxy, beyond the shattered ring of Veyr, a dragon named Zorath began to hunger for more than peace. He believed dragons were destined to rule, not protect, the stars. His fire burned black and crimson, a flame so dark it could consume light itself. When the Council of Flame gathered, Aureth tried to reason with him. "Zorath," he said, his voice echoing through the starlight halls of Veyr, "we are guardians, not gods. The stars do not belong to us." Zorath's eyes burned like eclipsed suns. "The stars belong to those strong enough to hold them," he answered. "And I am tired of bowing to the weak." With that, the seeds of war were sown. Soon, the first attacks began. Worlds under dragon protection burned in dragon fire. Cities of light turned to ashes that floated in space. The Great Dragon War, the War of Fire and Starlight, had begun. Aureth gathered those still loyal to peace. Seraphine, the dragoness of silver flame who could breathe frost fire, Thalin, the dragon of storm and lightning, and Kalar, the youngest of them all, whose blue wings shimmered like ocean skies. Together they formed the Luminera Alliance, a brotherhood to stop Zorath before his darkness spread beyond the stars. But Zorath was cunning. He was not alone. He had forged alliances with creatures from the void, a race called the Veyr, beings of shadow and hunger. They gave him power beyond flame, a force called the Eternal Night, which could devour light itself. When the first battle came, it was at the Nebula of Tears, where dying stars wept light into the dark. There, thousands of dragons clashed, their roars echoing across space. Streams of fire, lightning, and starlight crossed the void like rivers of destruction. Planets trembled. Moons shattered. Aureth faced Zorath for the first time in centuries. "You would burn everything," Aureth cried as they circled above a dying sun. Zorath laughed, his dark fire flaring, only to build something stronger from the ashes. Their flames collided, gold and black. The explosion turned the nearby planets into dust. Neither side won. The war raged on, spreading like wildfire. Years passed. Galaxies dimmed. The dragons grew weary, their numbers falling. Then came the prophecy that in the ruins of an ancient world, Seraphine discovered a crystal scroll older than any star. It told of the Starborne child, one not of dragon kind, but born of flame and flesh. A being who would carry both fire and starlight in their heart and end the war that even the gods could not. Aureth listened to the prophecy in silence. "A mortal," he said softly. "How could a mortal end what dragons began?" Seraphine's silver eyes shimmered. "Perhaps that is the point. We have forgotten mercy. Maybe only one who still remembers what it means to be small can remind us of the light we've lost." The search began. Across worlds and star systems, the dragons of Luminera sought the Child of Fire. They flew through burning comets and crystal storms. On the planet Lethera, Aureth finally found her, a young girl named Alara, born under two suns, with eyes that glowed faintly with starlight. She was human, barely 17, yet when Aureth appeared before her in the desert, her gaze did not falter. "You came," she said softly, as if she had been waiting. "I've seen you in my dreams." Aureth bowed his massive head. "Then you know what you are." She nodded. A bridge between fire and light, between creation and destruction. When she touched his scales, her hand glowed like a small sun. The stars above shimmered in response. But Zorath also learned of her. He sent his shadows, the Veyr, to capture or kill her. Her village burned in the night sky, flames devouring the desert as Aureth carried her away into the clouds. "I will never forgive him," Alara whispered, her tears glowing as they fell. "Do not let hatred be your fire," Aureth told her. "Let hope be your flame." Together, they fled across galaxies. Alara trained with Seraphine and Thalen, learning to summon her inner light. When she spoke the ancient words of flame, stars responded. Her body became a vessel of starlight fire, her soul connected to the heart of creation itself. But every time she used her power, the eternal night grew stronger. The balance was delicate. Each act of light called its opposite from the dark. And somewhere beyond the edges of reality, Zorath watched and waited, smiling in the shadows. The war stretched across 1,000 light years. Stars that once shone like beacons became battlefields where dragons clashed among shattered moons. The songs of creation turned into roars of rage and pain. Even time seemed to hesitate, as if the universe itself feared what would come next. The Luminera alliance, though strong in spirit, began to falter. The eternal night was spreading like a sickness. Wherever Zorath's shadow passed, suns dimmed and planets froze. Aureth led what dragons remained to Lumerion, a world of blue crystal skies and fire rivers. There, the Alliance built their final stronghold, the Citadel of Light. It was carved from the heart of a fallen star, its walls pulsing with living flame. Alara stood upon the highest tower, looking up at the sky that shimmered with endless battles. She could feel the pain of dying stars echo in her soul. Every dragon that fell whispered to her heart like a fading flame. "Is this what it means to be chosen?" she asked quietly. "To watch everything burn?" Seraphine placed her silver-scaled head beside her. "To be chosen means to carry the burden others cannot. You hold both the light and the fire. Only you can heal what we have broken." But before Alara could answer, the sky darkened. Zorath had come. He descended upon Lumerion like an eclipse, his wings blotting out the stars. The fire in his chest burned black as oil, and his voice thundered across the citadel. "Aureth," he roared, "come and face the fire you started." The dragons of light took to the air. The heavens erupted once more in flame and fury. Aureth soared upward, his golden fire colliding with Zorath's shadow. Every clash sent waves of energy that split the clouds and shattered distant moons. Below, the Veyr army poured from the void, thousands of shadow creatures twisting through space like serpents of smoke. Thalen unleashed storms, his lightning turning the darkness white. Seraphine's frostfire froze entire fleets of Veyr into crystal dust. Alara stood in the center of it all, her eyes glowing with starlight. She raised her hands, and the fire inside her heart burst into the sky, forming a radiant shield of light that wrapped around Lumerion. But it wasn't enough. Zorath was too powerful. The eternal night within him fed on every spark of light he destroyed. "You cannot stop me, Aureth," Zorath bellowed. "I am beyond flame and time. I am the end of light." Aureth's voice shook the stars. "Then I will be its last guardian." Their fires collided once again, gold and black, creation and destruction entwined. The explosion tore through the sky, breaking Alarion's moons and scattering mountains into the void. Alara screamed as she felt their energy tearing reality apart. She reached for the starlight within her, desperate to stop the destruction. The fire in her chest expanded, connecting to every living flame across the galaxy. She became a conduit, a bridge between all fires and all stars. Aureth turned to her, his wings trembling with exhaustion. "Alara, the light of creation. It is yours now. Use it." She hesitated. "If I release it, I might burn everything." "You must trust the flame within," Aureth shouted. "It is not destruction. It is rebirth." Alara closed her eyes and let go. Light erupted from her body, spreading through space like dawn after endless night. It pierced the eternal darkness, cutting through Zorath's shadow. The black fire screamed, twisting and cracking as the light consumed it. For a brief moment, everything was silent. Then came the collapse. The stars began to fall. One by one, suns imploded into white dust, forming a storm of energy that swallowed entire systems. The light of creation was too strong. It broke the balance between fire and void. Aureth and Seraphine tried to protect Alara, but the force was unstoppable. The citadel of light shattered. Dragons fell, their wings burning into stardust. Zorath, wounded and enraged, fled into the outer dark, his body torn by the light. As Lumerion crumbled, Alara floated in the air surrounded by cosmic fire. She had become something more than mortal, half light, half flame, her body glowing like a new star. Aureth looked upon her with sorrow and awe. "You have become the heart of the stars," he whispered. "But at what cost?" When the storm ended, only silence remained. Lumerion was gone. The galaxy had changed forever. The few dragons who survived drifted through the ruins of their once bright worlds, carrying the memories of the war in their hearts. Aureth vanished into the unknown, carrying Alara's sleeping form to a place beyond stars, a place untouched by light or shadow. The dragon wars had ended, but not with victory, only with silence, and a single spark left glowing in the dark. 1,000 years passed. The galaxy healed, or at least tried to. The scars of the dragon wars still lingered, hidden beneath new stars and younger worlds. The great dragons had vanished from history, fading into legend. To most, they were myths, stories told around fires by children staring at the night sky. But far beyond the edge of known space, beyond the reach of mortal suns, there drifted a forgotten world, Alarion's Rest. There, under a sky of eternal twilight, a light slept within the heart of a crystal mountain. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat, and then one day, it stirred. The mountain cracked open, spilling rivers of molten light across the valley. From the heart of that light rose Alara, her body glowing faintly, her eyes burning like the first dawn. She was no longer the girl she had been. Time had touched her differently. She was ageless now, her spirit bound to the flame of creation. She stepped out into the new world, where strange stars hung low and silent. "How long?" she whispered. A voice answered, deep, ancient, familiar. "Long enough for worlds to forget us." It was Aureth. His golden scales were dim now, his wings bearing scars of endless battles. Yet his eyes still burned with warmth. "I carried you here after the fall," he said softly. "You slept as the galaxies mended themselves. I watched over you, until even I began to fade." Alara touched his snout gently. "You saved me." "I saved the last hope," Aureth said. "But I fear the darkness was not destroyed, only delayed." As if his words awakened it, the sky trembled. From beyond the veil of stars, a shadow began to spread, cold and silent, devouring light. The eternal night had returned, reborn from the remnants of Zorath's power. The void creatures, the Veyr, had multiplied again, hungering for flame. Alara looked to the heavens. "He's still out there, isn't he?" Aureth nodded. Zorath's fire was never truly extinguished. It burns in the spaces between stars. The darkness remembers. Alara clenched her fists, light flickering beneath her skin. "Then we must remind it what it means to face the light." But Aureth hesitated. "You are no longer mortal, Alara. You carry the light of creation. If you unleash it again without balance, you could destroy everything we seek to protect." She looked up at him, the dragon who had once been her guardian, now her last friend. "Then I must find balance. Not in fire or light alone, but in both." Together, they took flight. For the first time in centuries, golden fire filled the sky once more. The stars seemed to sing, remembering their ancient guardians. They traveled from world to world, through the remains of shattered moons, through nebulae glowing with forgotten flame. They sought the scattered survivors of dragonkind. They found Thalen, now little more than a storm spirit, trapped within a dying gas giant. With Alara's touch, He was freed, his lightning sparking with renewed life. They found Seraphine, her frost fire dimmed, sleeping beneath the frozen rings of a distant planet. She awoke, her silver wings spreading wide, tears of starlight falling from her eyes. "You live," she whispered when she saw Alara. "Then hope still burns." The Luminera Alliance was reborn, smaller, older, but filled once more with purpose. But far in the dark beyond, Zorath stirred. The black dragon, now half shadow, half flame, opened his burning crimson eyes. "So," he hissed, his voice echoing across the void, "the light dares to rise again." He no longer needed the Veyr to fight for him. The darkness itself obeyed his will. He had become the shadow flame, a being of pure entropy, able to turn light into ash with a single breath. When he rose, entire constellations went dark. Stars flickered out like candles. The universe began to dim once more. The dragons of light gathered above the world of Alarion's Rest, now their new home. The sky was full of fire once again. Aureth looked at Alara. "He comes for you. He always did. You are the bridge he seeks to destroy." Alara nodded, her heart calm despite the storm in the heavens. "Then let him come. This time we end it." And then the final battle began. The stars above turned crimson as Zorath descended, his body vast enough to darken whole worlds. His wings carried the echoes of dying suns. His roar was the sound of time breaking. The dragons of Luminera rose to meet him. Thalen's lightning lit up the void, Seraphine's frost fire froze shadows mid-flight, and Aureth's golden flame cut through the darkness, like dawn through storm clouds. In the center of it all stood Alara, her arms outstretched, her heart glowing with the power of 1,000 suns. Zorath's voice thundered. "You cannot destroy me, child. I am what was always meant to be. The silence after light, the stillness after fire." Alara met his gaze. "Then I will show you that even silence can sing." Her body burst into radiance. Starlight spiraled from her hands, meeting Zorath's black fire in a clash that tore space apart. Planets shattered. Comets vaporized. The very fabric of the galaxy trembled. Aureth and the others tried to shield her, but the energy was beyond them all. It was creation and destruction fighting for the right to exist. In that blinding storm of power, Alara began to see not just light and shadow, but harmony. She realized they were never meant to destroy each other. They were two halves of one whole. And she whispered, softly but clearly, "Let there be balance." Then everything went white, silence. For the first time in eternity, the universe was utterly still. No fire, no shadow, just the soft hum of existence itself. Then, from the heart of that silence, came light. Not blinding, not burning, gentle, steady, pure. It spread like a dawn after endless night. In the center of that light floated Alara, her body surrounded by golden starlight and soft threads of shadow that danced in harmony around her. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing like twin stars. Zorath was before her, no longer monstrous. The black fire that had once consumed him now flickered faintly around a small, weary dragon. His eyes were no longer filled with rage, but sorrow. "Why?" he whispered. "Why did you not destroy me?" Alara's voice was calm, almost tender. "Because destruction is not balance. You and I, O light and shadow, were meant to exist together. One cannot live without the other." Zorath lowered his head, his voice trembling. "Then I have spent eternity chasing what I already was." His body began to dissolve into sparks of dark light, rising into the new dawn. Before he vanished completely, he looked at her once more. "Perhaps you are the flame we were all waiting for." Then he was gone. The war ended, not with victory or defeat, but understanding. When the storm faded, the surviving dragons awoke among the ruins of stars. The galaxy had been reborn. The light was softer now, the shadows gentler. Suns that had once burned too bright now glowed with calm warmth. Aureth hovered near Alara, his wings glimmering faintly. "You did it," he said quietly. You ended the war that began before memory itself. Alara smiled faintly. No, Aureth. We ended it, together. The other dragons gathered, their wings creating waves of color across the sky, silver, blue, gold, and white. For the first time since the beginning, they felt peace. But Alara knew her time among them was almost done. The light of creation within her was not meant to remain bound to one form. It called to her, whispering of new beginnings beyond the stars. Seraphine approached, her silver eyes full of tears. Must you leave us? Alara nodded softly. The balance must be watched, always. I will be part of it now, not as flame or flesh, but as light itself. When the stars flicker, when dragons lose their way, I will be the spark that reminds them of who they are. Aureth lowered his head. Then your name will never be forgotten. You are the Starlight Flame, the first and last of your kind. Alara smiled. And you are the Guardians. Keep the fire alive. She stepped into the air, rising slowly. Her body turned into threads of light, swirling among the stars. For a moment, she was everywhere. Her laughter echoed in the winds of distant worlds, her warmth in every newborn sun. Then she was gone. Aureth and the others looked up, watching the heavens shimmer with new constellations. In the shape of a girl surrounded by dragons, a new cluster of stars had formed. It was said her light would never fade. From that day forward, dragons no longer waged war. They became wanderers, healers of the wounded stars, keepers of harmony. They taught younger worlds the balance between creation and shadow. The galaxy of Lumerion entered an age of peace, and across countless worlds, beings of flame and flesh whispered her name whenever they looked to the night sky. And on one quiet world, under the glow of two suns, a child once again looked up at the sky. She saw the faint shimmer of that constellation, and for a moment, a soft warmth touched her heart. Look, she whispered, pointing upward. The stars are singing again. Her mother smiled. They always do, child. That's the sound of fire and starlight. The sky shimmered as if answering. And far, far away, in the depths of the cosmos, a voice of light whispered back. And so it begins again,